Level 1. The designated marksman. It starts with a bolt click in the mud outside Stalingrad. The frost is thick enough to freeze your eyelashes together, but you don't blink. 50 yards ahead, a German officer steps out from behind an armored car to light a cigarette. You pull the trigger of your standard-issue Mosin Nagant. The heavy steel kicks into your collarbone. Through the iron sights, you watch him drop before the match hits the snow. You aren't a specialist. You don't have an optical sight, a spotter, or a ghillie suit. You are just an infantryman who hit 4 out of 5 moving targets during a 2-minute marksmanship test while mortar shells tore apart the shooting range. The sergeant hands you 5 extra rounds of 7.62x5.4 ammunition per day. That is your promotion. That is your elite status. The rule of level 1 is simple. Carry the same rifle as the men dying in the trench, but make every bullet count. While your squad blind fires into the tree line, you sit motionless on frozen bricks, breathing through your nose so condensation doesn't give away your position. You learn the invisible currency of the front, distance. At 10 yards, you hear men screaming for their mothers in a language you almost understand. At 300 yards, they are just silhouettes. Distance keeps you sane. Your squad mates stop looking you in the eye. They don't share rations with you anymore. To them, you aren't a brave soldier. You are a lightning rod for enemy mortars. Where you sit, artillery follows. By week 3, you have 9 confirmed kills written in a small notebook in your pocket. You tell yourself each one saved 20 of your own men. It's a lie. 3 were teenagers carrying soup kettles. But in the notebook, numbers buy your next meal. Level 2. The scoped infantrymen. The crate arrives at dawn, brought by a political commissar who smells like vodka and grease. Inside lies a pristine PU 3.5x optical sight mounted to a refined rifle. The bluing on the steel is fresh. The stock is oiled walnut, free of blood. You belong to the regiment now, the commissar says, not the squad. You step up to level 2. You are stripped from your squad and paired with a spotter in no man's land. The scope narrows the world into a tight, black ring. You no longer see vague silhouettes. You see stubble on a sergeant's chin. You see brass buttons on a coat. You see the light leave their eyes when lead strikes home. The intimacy is terrifying, but the control is intoxicating. You learn the physics of killing. You calculate wind by smoke from burning farmhouses. You estimate range by the width of a man's shoulders against your reticle. You stop aiming for heads too small, too fast. You aim for the center chest, right where the leather webbing crosses. Survival requires total paralysis. You crawl into position at 3 a.m., dragging your body through frozen mud and rotting wire. You lie still for 14 hours. You urinate where you lie. You chew frozen breadcrumbs, letting them melt so the sound of crunching doesn't travel through the quiet. Motion is death. You learn to suppress your pulse, squeezing the trigger only between heartbeats, so your blood doesn't throw the crosshairs off by a fraction of a millimeter. You tally 27 kills this month. You receive a medal and a pocket watch, taken from a dead commander. You don't care about the medal. You use the watch to time enemy artillery barrages, finding the 3-second window of noise where you can fire without revealing your position. Level 3. The frontline hunter. You wear a suit made of burlap, fishnet, and dead vegetation. You smell like wet earth and cordite. You look like a piece of the forest that learned how to shoot. Level 3 is where you stop being a tool of the infantry and become a ghost. You operate in the dense pine forests of the Ardennes. You don't wait for targets. You hunt them. Your spotter carries 6x30 Carl Zeiss binoculars, taken off a fallen officer. He speaks in low whispers, reading terrain like a map. Officer at 600 yards. Walking left to right. Wind 3 miles per hour from the west. You don't evaluate morality. You evaluate vectors. You hold 2 inches left to account for crosswind, exhale half a lungful, and hold. The rifle barks. Through the glass, the officer drops flat into tall grass. Hit, your spotter mutters. Move. That is the absolute rule of level 3. 1 shot, 1 position. The enemy knows you are here. Counter-sniper units sweep the tree line. Mortar crews wait for a single puff of muzzle smoke to saturate an entire grid square. Fire twice from the same spot, and you are dead. You crawl backward through 50 yards of thorn bushes, dragging your rifle by the sling, never letting the barrel touch dirt. You study human behavior. Officers walk with cleaner boots and confident strides. Enlisted men hunch their shoulders. Smart survivors stay in wet depressions. Amateurs look for dry ground and high perches. Your reputation spreads. Infantrymen clear a path when you walk through camp, but nobody speaks to you. You carry 80 confirmed kills, but you have no friends left alive. You realize you don't mind. Human connection just complicates the shot. Level 4. The Counter-Sniper Specialist. High Command transfers you to the ruined urban grid of Budapest. An enemy marksman has locked down an entire boulevard, picking off messengers and stretcher-bearers. 3 hunters were sent before you. None returned. Level 4 is Predator versus Predator. You aren't hunting men who don't know you exist. You are hunting a man who is actively looking for your shadow. The environment is a shattered geometric nightmare. Every broken window is a potential nest. Every pile of rubble hides a barrel. For 4 days, you don't fire. You sit in the dark attic of a ruined cathedral, looking through a gap in the brickwork. You don't use your scope. The glint of sun off glass will kill you in a millisecond. You use a mirror shard on a stick, angled from deep inside the shadows. You map his pattern. He killed a messenger at 9:15 from an elevated position north of the square. He killed a runner at 14:30 at ground level. He is patient, precise, and arrogant. You set a trap. You take a mannequin head from a bombed store, put a helmet on it, and raise it slowly past a window frame using a broom handle. A bullet snaps through plaster, punching a hole clean through the mannequin's forehead. The report comes 1.2 seconds later. Distance, 400 meters. Location, second floor window of the burnt bank building across the plaza. You wait. You let him think he got his kill. You watch as he holds still for 3 minutes, verifying his work. Then he makes his mistake. He shifts his head 2 inches left to check his escape route. You align your reticle where his chest will be when he takes his next step. You don't think about his life or his name. You think only about the 4-pound trigger pull. You squeeze. Through the dust kicked up by your muzzle blast, you watch his silhouette collapse backward out the frame. You pack your gear and leave within 30 seconds. No applause. You cross off a line in your notebook, take his custom rifle as a trophy, and wait for the next city. Level 5, the Master Instructor. They take your field rifle and give you a chalkboard and 20 recruits who look like children. You are moved behind the lines to an elite marksman school hidden in the forests outside Warsaw. You are level 5, a survivor turned builder of killers. The recruits stare at you with wide, desperate eyes. They read the state newspapers. They know your kill count, 146. They think you are a hero. You despise them for it. Half of you will die within 48 hours of reaching the front, you tell them, your voice flat. The other half will die because you forgot to calculate wind. You don't teach them how to shoot. Anyone can pull steel. You teach them how to vanish. You make them crawl through freezing swamps for 8 hours without moving a single reed. If a bird flies out of a tree near their position, you kick them in the ribs. A bird taking flight is an artillery shell on your head. You bark. Do it again. You drill the grim math of priority targets. An officer is worth 10 soldiers. A radio operator is worth 20. An enemy sniper is worth 50. A running man moving away from you is not a target, he is a distraction. You watch them break. You watch boys who entered with ideals turn into hollow shells, who view human life as distance charts and wind drops. An 18-year-old cadet from Siberia asks you how you sleep after seeing so many faces through your lens. You stare at him, taking a slow drag from a cigarette. You don't see faces, you say coldly. You see uniforms. If you see a face, you're already dead. 2 weeks later, he goes to the front. Word comes back 3 days later that a mortar caught him before he fired a shot. You don't feel sadness. You fill his spot with the next boy on the roster. Level 6, the high-value eliminator. You no longer belong to an army unit. You report directly to Strategic Command. Level 6 is political execution. You aren't deployed to hold trenches. You are dropped behind enemy lines with a suppressed rifle, a compass, and a single file containing a photo, a schedule, and a signature from the top of the state. Your targets are generals, weapons scientists, and commanders. You work alone. No spotter, no fire support, no extraction if you fail. If captured, your government denies your existence. In summer 1944, you spend 3 weeks hidden in the rafters of a ruined barn near a German-occupied estate in France. Your target is a high-ranking officer managing coastal defense sectors. You learn his life. He drinks coffee at 7:30 on the stone patio. He limps on his left side. He writes letters every Sunday evening. You watch him through your 4X optics day after day, waiting for the window. You feel no anger toward him. You feel no patriotic drive. He is a line on a ledger that needs crossing out. The code comes via shortwave radio. At 7:31, as he raises a cup to his mouth, you press the trigger. The suppressed rifle makes a quiet thwack. The officer drops across the table, shattering glass. Before the guards run onto the patio, You are sliding down the back wall into the dark forest. You get no medals for this, no news stories. Your notebook is confiscated and burned by intelligence officers after every job. Your legacy is written in sudden, silent vacancies in the enemy's chain of command. Level 7. The Ghost of the Front. You have survived 3 years of continuous combat. Your kill count is over 300. You stopped counting after 200. You are level 7, a legend whispered about in enemy trenches. They call you the Phantom, the Shadow. Enemy command puts a 50,000 mark bounty on your head. They deploy entire counter-sniper companies just to sweep sectors where you are rumored to be. They waste thousands of artillery rounds leveling empty woods because someone saw movement. You are completely detached from normal human existence. You don't speak unless necessary. Your body is covered in shrapnel scars and frostbite marks. Your left thumb was torn off by a grenade splinter. You can drop your resting heart rate to 40 beats per minute on command. You don't feel fear. Fear is for men who have something left to lose. You have already lost your home, your family, and your youth. You operate in the frozen mud of the Eastern Front during the final push to Berlin. The cold freezes oil inside actions, so you wash all lubricant from your bolt and run it bone dry. You take impossible shots. 800 yards through a blinding snowstorm. 900 yards at a target running full speed across an open clearing. You don't calculate on paper anymore. Your mind processes ballistics instantly, like breathing. You catch an enemy marksman tracking a squad of young soldiers. He is hidden inside the engine block of a wrecked tank 700 meters away. You don't take the easy chest shot. You wait until he raises his optic, and you fire straight through his glass lens. When your infantry finds his body, they look at you with horror. They don't see a comrade. They see a demon wearing their uniform. You turn and walk back into the grey forest alone. Level 8. The Unmarked Grave. The war ends, but the silence doesn't. You sit on a wooden bench in a ruined park on the edge of Berlin. May 1945. The guns are quiet, but the noise inside your head is louder than any artillery barrage you ever survived. You are level 8. Untouchable, completely isolated, sitting at the top of a tower built entirely on corpses. You wear no medals. You surrendered your rifle to an intelligence officer for civilian clothes, a fake name, and a train ticket to nowhere. Your hands, once steady enough to split a coin at 500 yards, tremble when you try to hold a metal cup. You walk through streets full of people celebrating victory. They shout, drink, and hug strangers. You feel nothing. You look at the crowd through trained eyes, and your brain runs automatic calculations. Distance to the speaker on the balcony, 400 yards. Wind, 4 miles per hour from the left. Primary escape route, the alley behind the bakery. Casualties, if a heavy gun opened fire from the roof, 70 before they scatter. You can never turn it off. The war rewired your brain until people are no longer human. They are targets, cover, or sight obstructions. You sit on the bench, pulling a thin coat against the cold. You survived the largest war in human history. You beat every sniper sent to track you down. You reached the absolute top. The cost was everything you were. You close your eyes and listen to boots marching through mud near the city gate. Somewhere, 10 miles away, a 19-year-old kid is receiving his first Mosin Nagant rifle from a tired sergeant. The kid looks at the steel barrel with wide eyes. He thinks about glory. He thinks about home. He thinks he understands the game he is about to play.